Through the annals of time, across continents and cultures, there remains one imperative, unanswered question. Man, from the moment he stood on 2 feet, eternally looks up to the sky and asks fervently, "Who am I?" The greatest philosophers and thinkers, priests and poets, have yet to answer this infinite query. Why is that? How is that? We have been to the moon and back. We built the Large Hadron Collider. We have discovered the microscopic building blocks of all things, seen and unseen. Yet this single inquiry remains devoid of an answer. Could it be possible that man has been asking the wrong question? What if, by changing a single word, this mystery could finally be resolved? Is there another perspective from which to view this subject? The answer we seek is not elusive, for the issue lies in the question, which is flawed on its face. Instead of asking, "Who am I?" we need to instead ask, "What am I?" The nature of the 3D dualistic world is wholly temporal, and as such, so is every construct with which the ego attempts to explain and create itself. Your who is ever-changing, always in a state of flux. One day you are a surgeon. The next day your hands are crippled by arthritis. One day you are a husband. The next month you are divorced. One day you are a father. Years later your child passes. These roles you play, the costumes one wears, cannot be nailed down as an accurate depiction of the overall entity wearing them. The Sisyphean process of attempting to discover your who by aligning with any one thing is akin to attempting to catch lightning in a bottle. For a man wears these expressions of who for only a brief moment in time. The entire purpose of each of these roles, at every stage in his development, is more accurately a study of how gracefully he can transmute from mask to mask, from avatar to avatar. Yet underneath all of the disguises, behind each mask, in addition to the current role or roles he plays, there is an infinite, keen observer. What is the observer? Where does the observer reside? What is the nature of this observer? These are the questions one must first attempt to answer. Instead of asking, "Who am I?" one instead needs to ask, "What am I?" When one begins with "What am I?" he embarks on a journey towards an answer which is settled upon a more solid and honest foundation. Man's most recent awareness concerning the principles of quantum physics proves that everything is vibratory energy first. This, of course, includes mankind itself. The idea, the illusion of an existence of a material universe, has largely been disproven and dispelled. We now know there is more space in the cosmos than seemingly solid structures. On a molecular level, we know there is more space in the atom than seemingly solid structures as well. Even the orbiting bodies of the cosmos provide an eerily similar reflection of the orbiting bodies within the atom. Man, by this interpretation, is a microcosm of the macrocosm. Better said, as discovered on the emerald tablets written millennia ago, as above, so below. Science has revealed that energy is neither created nor destroyed. It is only ever-changing form ad infinitum. You may then extrapolate the infinite nature of your whatness as separate and apart from the temporal nature of your who-ness. Are you merely a man, or is there something more esoteric happening? In the early 1800s, the nature of matter began to be studied by the most prominent scientists of the day. Eventually discovered later in that century was that subatomic anatomy, the building blocks of all things seen and unseen, could be experienced in both wave and particle form simultaneously. This profound discovery cast inexorable doubt on the existence of definable matter. The most interesting part of the experiment revealed that the ultimate determination of particles manifesting as either energy or matter relied solely on the presence of an observer. In practice, this means that expressed reality depends primarily on a simultaneously separate and connected observer, which is watching an assumed reality unfold. This role of the observer is almost godlike in its depiction, holding a power over outcomes based significantly on the focus of its attention. In simple terms, if a play goes on but there is no one in the audience, did the play actually occur? If a tree is felled in the woods with no one present to hear it, did the tree truly make a sound? If you cannot figure out who you are, might it be because there is a higher nature, an infinitely observing aspect of you? Is there a you at all, if there is not also the observer version of you? Might you be an eternal, observing, vibrational God in addition to being a finite, unconscious and material man? There are concrete answers as to the nature of man. When you consider that, in addition to being a who, you are also a what. You are an infinite, energetic, non-material observer whose sole purpose is to transmit data back to a primary source energy from which you emanate and which you also are. But why all of the cloak and dagger histrionics, you may wonder? Why the confusion and ambiguity around a question as simple as, who am I? Because the very discovery of this reality is one of the primary points of the human experiment. This drama, this dance exists for the sole purpose that the primary source is permitted to experience and understand the nature of itself, vis-a-vis the who, which is both you and it at the same time. Embrace your whatness. Recognize and revel in your who, because, and in spite of the temporal role it plays, see your who as the ever-changing mask you wear. While the what of you creates your life experience, you will soon discover that when you know what you are, who you are becomes irrelevant at best. It can even be quite dangerous at worst. Man cannot know who he is without a deep and complete awareness first of what he is. The true and deep beauty of knowing what you are is that you then get to be whomever you wish.